The night drapes the distant landscape in a soft, silvery hue. A solitary medieval castle rises atop the hill, its stone walls bathed in the gentle glow of moonlight. Beyond the castle, forests stretch into shadowed depths, their rustling of leaves barely audible against the vast, quiet sky. The air is crisp and still, carrying the faint scent of pine and distant hearth smoke. Somewhere beneath the great oak near the castle's outer courtyard, a traveler rests, curled beneath a wool blanket. The subtle crackle of a small fire beside him punctuates the silence, each flicker casting a warm, dancing glow over the grass and rough bark of the tree. Stars glitter in the night sky, their soft twinkle mirrored in the eyes of a sleeping fox that pauses near the underbrush. The castle stands as a sentinel of calm, its towers piercing the star-strewn heavens, yet the entire scene is steeped in peace. There is no urgency here, no hurried movement disturbs the world. Only the gentle sway of the fire's glow and the soft, distant twinkle of stars accompany the traveler's quiet breaths. Time itself seems to slow, each moment lingering, inviting the mind to wander and rest, carried gently by the nocturnal hush of the medieval night. The fire beside the traveler grows warmer, its flames dancing softly, yet the surrounding air remains undisturbed. Sparks rise and fade almost imperceptibly, each one a tiny heartbeat of light against the velvety darkness. The warmth from the fire caresses the traveler's face, while shadows from the tree branches stretch slowly across the ground, frozen in their delicate arcs, as if holding a secret vigil. Above, the stars shimmer subtly, a gentle symphony of tiny lights that pulse in quiet rhythm with the flickering fire. The castle in the distance appears stoic and unyielding, its cold stone softened by the moon's silver touch, yet it carries the weight of centuries in every block and tower. The traveler's eyes flutter beneath the blanket, drawn into a liminal space between wakefulness and sleep. Each crackle of the fire whispers of stories long past, of knights and wandering minstrels, of quiet nights like this one, spent in the still embrace of the castle's shadow. Every element, the fire, the stars, the cool night air, moves in perfect harmony with the silence, creating a cocoon of serenity that shields the traveler from the hurry of the waking world. Beyond the campfire, the darkened forest stretches in slow, quiet mystery. The trees stand like silent sentinels, their leaves shimmering faintly in the moonlight, creating a delicate lattice of shadow and silver on the soft ground. Somewhere in the distance, the castle walls gleam faintly, the moonlight striking their high stone surfaces with a muted brilliance. From this distance, the castle feels less like a fortress and more like a guardian of dreams, a timeless observer of the sleeping traveler beneath the tree. The fire's glow flickers against the nearest grass and roots, casting a gentle warmth into the surrounding shadows. Stars pulse softly overhead, subtle variations of light like quiet breathing in the heavens. The traveler shifts slightly beneath the blanket, but the world remains still, frozen around him in a tableau of calm. The night stretches endlessly, a continuous embrace of shadow and gentle illumination, encouraging the mind to drift, one slow, measured breath at a time. Inside the distant castle, the night continues its quiet reign, and even in darkness, life's subtle traces linger. In the dimly lit halls, long shadows stretch across the stone floors, cast by torches placed in wrought iron holders along the walls. The tapestries hanging motionless tell stories of ancient battles, nights, and feasts, their colors softened by age and moonlight. Wooden tables, polished but worn, stand against the walls, with silver goblets and plates resting silently, reminders of meals once shared by lords and servants alike. Somewhere beyond the main hall, the faint scent of herbs and dried flowers drifts through the corridors, carried by the cool night air. The kitchens, now silent, still hold the memory of the day's labor. Earthen pots stacked neatly, wooden ladles and spoons aligned, and a hearth that once roared, now reduced to glowing embers, its warmth lingering like a whisper. Candles flicker softly in small alcoves, casting golden reflections that dance gently against the stone. Yet the movement is subtle, never disturbing the stillness of the rooms. Servants long gone have left their mark on the castle. Footprints in the dust of stone stairs, a half-filled water jug on a bench, a broom leaning quietly in the corner. Everything tells of lives lived, of quiet routines and careful attention to the castle's upkeep. Yet the night preserves all in a gentle pause. In this suspended time, the castle is alive without movement, a sanctuary of history and comfort, while the traveler rests under the tree, hearing only the soft echo of centuries in stone walls and silent corridors. The castle courtyard stretches wide beneath the silver light of the moon, revealing cobblestones worn smooth by countless footsteps over decades. Though empty of movement, each stone seems imbued with the memories of its use. Children who once chased each other during the day, guards who patrolled through snow and rain, horses tied near the stables awaiting the dawn. Small lanterns hang from wooden beams and posts, their flames flickering subtly in a gentle, nocturnal breeze, casting warm patches of light on the cold stones. Near the center, an old wooden well stands, silent and sturdy, its iron handle frozen in place. Flower beds, tended in daytime, now sleep under the night sky, petals barely catching the moonlight, hinting at colors only visible in imagination. In one corner, barrels of ale and sacks of grain sit stacked, untouched, and still, a testament to the labor of the castle's keepers. From a distance, the traveler under the tree sees the faint outline of the walls and towers, imagining the quiet movements that might have occurred here earlier. The clatter of dishes, the soft murmur of conversation, the careful steps of a maid carrying water or tending to the stables. The fire by his side warms his sleeping body, and the stars above twinkle faintly, mirrored by the soft flicker of the courtyard lanterns. Even in its apparent stillness, the courtyard is alive with a sense of the castle's history, the weight of its stories, and the enduring rhythm of daily life, frozen in a serene nighttime embrace. Inside the castle, the quiet of the night is layered with subtle sounds, though movement remains frozen. The gentle drip of water from a stone gargoyle echoes softly in a distant corridor, a rhythm that marks the slow passage of time. Wooden doors creak occasionally, their hinges contracting in the chill of the night air, though no hand moves to push them. In the great hall, the long tables are empty now, but the faint scent of roasted meat and fresh bread lingers, a lingering reminder of the day's meals. Candles burn in alcoves, their flames flickering ever so slightly, throwing dancing shadows across stone walls and polished floors. A tapestry depicting a jousting scene, hangs perfectly still, yet one can almost hear the imagined clash of armor and the shouts of knights if one listens with closed eyes. In the kitchens, pots and pans are stacked neatly, herbs and vegetables frozen in place. Yet, in the mind's ear, one can imagine the soft chopping of vegetables or the crackle of a roaring stove. The castle's animals, now asleep in hidden corners or empty stalls, add to the sense of life paused. A cat curled on a windowsill, a horse quietly resting in its stall, the faint echo of distant wings from a barn owl outside. Each shadow, each whisper of wind through a narrow window adds depth to the night, building a tapestry of quiet and safety. For the traveler beneath the tree, this atmosphere forms a cocoon, a sense of life without motion, warmth without urgency, and a gentle invitation to drift slowly into sleep, accompanied by the layered, subtle pulse of a living, breathing castle, held in frozen time. High in one of the castle's stone towers, a narrow window frames the silver glow of the moon. Inside, a small chamber is filled with simple furnishings. A wooden writing desk, quill and parchment carefully arranged, a small chest with folded cloth and linens, and a single candle burning with soft, flickering light. The shadows it casts dance gently across the stone walls, complementing the distant twinkle of stars outside. On the floor, a thick wool rug muffles any imagined footsteps, and in one corner, a stool rests, seemingly waiting for a quiet scholar or scribe who once recorded the castle's stories. The wind whispers against the tower's stone, but no object moves. The scene is frozen in timeless serenity. Through the window, the castle courtyard and the distant fire near the traveler are visible, the flames casting warm reflections on the cold stones. One can almost hear the imagined scribbling of quill on parchment, the soft murmur of thoughts captured in writing. Yet the night holds everything still. The scent of beeswax from the candle mingles with the cool stone air, creating a quiet, intimate atmosphere. Every object, every detail tells a story of patience, reflection, and the small rituals of life in a medieval castle. The traveler beneath the tree, though distant, is connected to this silent routine, feeling a subtle resonance of human presence in the stillness. Far below, in the castle's great hall, the long wooden tables remain set as if awaiting a feast. Plates, goblets, and utensils gleam faintly in the flickering candlelight, reflecting the warm glow across the cold stone walls. The banners overhead depict battles, hunts, and celebrations, their threads golden in the firelight, frozen mid-wave, as if the night has captured them in motion. A grand fireplace dominates one side of the hall, its embers glowing softly, hinting at the warmth it once provided during bustling meals and gatherings. The scent of polished wood and lingering smoke hangs faintly in the air, a memory of a life paused but not gone. Chairs are tucked neatly under the tables, yet one can imagine the hurried footsteps of servants or the laughter of young pages running along the hall's length. Shadows stretch long across the floor, emphasizing the hall's vastness and the intimacy of each quiet detail. Outside the hall, the courtyard and distant towers fade into the night, their silhouettes softened by the moonlight. The traveler's fire glows far away, a tiny beacon, while here in the hall, the quiet presence of the castle itself seems alive, holding its secrets and stories in frozen tranquility, inviting the mind to wander gently along its walls and through its echoing spaces. Beyond the castle walls, the stables lie silent under the starry sky. Horses stand in their stalls, bodies still yet powerful, coats catching the faint moonlight in soft gleams. Tack and saddles hang neatly on the wooden racks, leather worn from years of use. Bales of hay and straw are stacked precisely, releasing the faint scent of sweet grass into the cool night air. The small lanterns flicker gently, casting subtle light across the cobblestone floor, illuminating dust, motes that seem to float in time itself. A cat curls up atop a pile of straw, its slow breathing in rhythm with the distant crackle of the traveler's fire. Beyond the stables, the castle towers rise silently, a dark silhouette against the softly twinkling stars, the moonlight highlighting the contours of the stone walls. The quiet rhythm of animal life merges with the frozen stillness of the castle, creating a world suspended between wakefulness and dreams. Each detail, from the carefully placed bucket of water to the iron horseshoes resting in the corner, tells of human care, even if those who tended it now sleep or are long gone. The traveler, wrapped in a blanket beneath the tree, is part of this nocturnal tapestry, connected by the subtle warmth of his fire and the gentle heartbeat of the castle's life paused around him. In the quiet of the night, the castle kitchens lie in perfect stillness, yet they hum with the lingering essence of the day's labor. Earthenware pots and pans sit stacked neatly on the stone counters, their surfaces gleaming faintly in the soft light of the flickering candle perched on the windowsill. Shelves lined with jars of preserved herbs, grains, and dried fruits carry the faint aroma of thyme and rosemary, subtle reminders of meals prepared with care. A large hearth dominates the room, its embers glowing warmly, as if recalling the heat it offered during busy hours of cooking. Wooden spoons and ladles rest in perfect order, each in its place, and clay jugs hold water, untouched but ready. Shadows dance gently along the stone walls, cast by the flickering candlelight, moving only as light itself moves, while everything else remains frozen in serene silence. A small window reveals the moonlight spilling across the courtyard, touching the cobblestones with silvery fingers, and from afar, the traveler's fire glows softly, a distant heartbeat in the night. The kitchens, though empty of humans, are alive with the memory of care, diligence, and quiet routines, their very stillness creating a meditative rhythm, encouraging the mind to rest and the soul to drift peacefully into slumber. High in a quiet tower, the castle library waits, frozen in nocturnal stillness. Tall shelves reach toward the vaulted ceiling, lined with dusty tomes and scrolls whose pages whisper of ancient knowledge and forgotten tales. Candles flicker softly in iron sconces, casting dancing shadows across the worn wooden floors. A heavy oak desk stands near the window, a quill resting delicately beside an open parchment, its ink dried, frozen mid-thought. The scent of parchment and aged leather fills the room, mingling with the faint chill of the night air. Moonlight filters through narrow windows, illuminating the spines of books with silver clarity, highlighting their ornate gilding and embossed covers. Somewhere deep in the stacks, a small lantern flickers, its subtle glow echoing the twinkle of stars outside, synchronized in quiet rhythm. Every object in the room, shelves, tables, scattered cushions, is perfectly still, yet the room feels alive with the presence of knowledge, reflection, and silent observation. The traveler beneath the tree, fire crackling softly, is connected across the distance by this same night by the hush of careful study and the deep serenity that comes from timeless spaces holding secrets and stories in peaceful suspension. The castle courtyard stretches wide under the calm gaze of the moon, its stone walls reflecting a muted silver glow. Battlements rise proudly into the night sky, their sharp edges softened by shadow and moonlight. In the courtyard, benches and planters lie motionless, flower beds sleeping beneath the gentle night breeze. Small lanterns hang along the walls, their flames flickering just enough to add warmth without disturbing the frozen peace of the scene. The cobblestones underfoot, polished, smooth by centuries of footsteps, catch the light in subtle glimmers, tracing imagined paths of those who once walked here. From afar, the traveler's fire glows softly under the tree, its warmth reflected in the stillness of the courtyard. The night is silent, except for the imagined whispers of leaves brushing against the walls, a lullaby carried on the gentle wind. Each shadow, each faint shimmer of light is a meditation in stone, wood, and firelight, a frozen tableau of history and calm. In this suspended moment, the castle breathes slowly with the night, holding centuries of human life and inviting the mind to drift, free of concern, through quiet corridors, peaceful towers, and the soft glow of memory and imagination. High above the castle courtyard, the guard towers stand silent under the night sky. Once bustling with the steps of sentries and the clatter of armor, they now hold only the echo of the day, frozen in timeless stillness. Wooden ladders rest quietly against stone walls, and iron railings gleam faintly in the moonlight, touched with the soft shimmer of frost that has formed in the chill of the night. The tower's arrow slits frame the distant forest and the small fire near the traveler, a distant heartbeat beneath the stars. Inside, the stone floors are smooth and cold, each block carved centuries ago, now quietly reflecting the candlelight that flickers in small sconces along the walls. Banners hang motionless, depicting the castle's heraldry, shields, crests, and the proud history of knights who once patrolled these halls. A wooden chest sits tucked in a corner, locked but well-worn, holding supplies that might be needed at dawn. The faint sound of distant wind through the tower's narrow openings whispers softly, stirring neither banners nor stones. Every detail, the worn steps, the polished railings, the subtle shadows cast by flickering light, creates a sense of life, paused but remembered. The traveler beneath the oak tree sees the towers outlined in silver, their silent strength mirrored in the calm flicker of his own fire. Even in stillness, these sentinels of stone seem alive, holding the night in a quiet embrace, offering both protection and serenity to all who dwell within the castle's embrace. Within the castle's high tower, the library remains an island of quiet contemplation. Rows of tall shelves, heavy with leather-bound tomes and rolled parchments, stretch toward the vaulted ceiling, their contents whispering the knowledge and stories of generations. Candles burn softly in iron holders, their flickering light reflecting off polished wood and gilded edges, casting intricate patterns across the stone floor. A single desk stands near the window, an open book frozen mid-sentence, as if waiting for a hand to continue. The scent of aged paper, ink, and polished wood mingles gently, a subtle aroma that evokes memory and study. Moonlight pours in through narrow slits, illuminating the edges of books and the faint sheen of dust in the air, highlighting details often overlooked. a ribbon marker resting lazily between pages, a quill set carefully in its holder, an empty cup of tea or wine cooled and still. Shadows dance gently along the walls, synchronized with the flickering candle flames, yet every object remains perfectly still. Outside, the courtyard and distant fire glow faintly under the starry sky, tying the solitary library to the larger nocturnal scene. The traveler, beneath the tree, wrapped in warmth and quiet, drifts between waking and dreaming, connected to this tower of knowledge. The library embodies the patience of centuries, the stillness of night, and the gentle rhythm of reflection, offering the mind a space to wander slowly, freely, and peacefully toward sleep, carried by the hush of flickering light and the weightless pulse of timeless stone and parchment. The stables lie silent under the night sky, their wooden walls dark and sturdy against the silver glow of the moon. Horses rest in their stalls, bodies calm and still, their breath rising in faint clouds that glimmer briefly in the lantern light. The smell of hay and leather fills the cool night air, mixed with a trace of the animal's warmth, creating a comforting, earthy scent. Saddles and bridles hang neatly on iron hooks, polished from years of careful use, while bales of straw are stacked with precise care, undisturbed and waiting for the morning. In one corner, a small cat curls up on a pile of hay, its tiny chest rising and falling in slow rhythm with the sleeping horses. Lanterns flicker softly, casting gentle, moving shadows that bring the stables to life without disturbing the stillness of the animals or objects. Beyond the open door, the castle towers rise silently, dark silhouettes against a sky scattered with twinkling stars. From a distance, the traveler's small fire glows warmly beneath the oak tree, a quiet heartbeat in the vast night. The stables, though empty of human movement, carry a deep sense of care, routine, and domestic life, each object a testament to countless hands tending to the animals and the castle. This quiet, ordered world of warmth and scent, stone and wood, breathes slowly in the night, offering a sanctuary of calm, a world in which the mind can wander gently towards sleep. In the castle's inner courtyard, a small stone fountain rests frozen under the night sky. Its water, usually flowing and sparkling during the day, now appears motionless, a glassy reflection of moonlight and distant stars. Around it, cobblestones glint subtly, smoothed by centuries of footsteps, their uneven textures catching the faint light of lanterns suspended along the walls. Each lantern flickers gently, casting warm golden patches that contrast the cool silver of the moon, creating a play of light and shadow that seems to breathe without moving anything in the courtyard. Flower beds sleep beneath the darkness, their petals folded, leaves motionless, yet glowing faintly in the mingling firelight from the traveler's distant campfire and the reflected lanterns. A wooden bench rests beneath a vine-covered trellis, inviting imagined contemplation, while a bucket of water set aside for the castle's gardens glimmers faintly in its stillness. The entire courtyard feels suspended in time, alive only through light and memory. The imagined sounds of footsteps, distant laughter, and the soft ripple of water in another time, carried by the mind's ear. Each detail, stone, wood, metal, plant, is frozen yet full of quiet life, weaving together a meditative rhythm. From beneath the oak, The traveler watches, half asleep, half dreaming, the gentle heartbeat of the fire echoing softly through the silent courtyard, connecting him to centuries of quiet, ordered life in the castle. High atop the castle walls, the battlements stretch into the night, their stone edges sharp against the softly twinkling stars. Moonlight glides over the crenellations, creating long silver shadows that fall across the frozen parapets and courtyards below. The air is crisp, carrying the faint scent of pine and distant smoke from the traveler's fire. No guard patrols the walls tonight. The silence holds firmly, yet the battlements seem alive with history. The echoes of countless footsteps, the soft clink of armor, the quiet murmur of watchful eyes from centuries past. Torches are long extinguished, yet small lanterns flicker faintly along the inner walls, casting a gentle glow on the stone and highlighting cracks and carved inscriptions that speak of time and cracks. From this height, the castle looks both vast and intimate, every tower, courtyard, and corridor captured in frozen perfection, while far below, the traveler sleeps peacefully beneath his tree. The stars shimmer in soft rhythm, mirrored in the subtle flicker of distant fires. Even in this stillness, the battlements hold a quiet vigilance, a protective embrace over the castle and its grounds, offering a sense of security and continuity. The mind, wandering across the heights and shadows, drifts gently into a calm, meditative state, lulled by the layered harmony of stone, firelight, and the gentle pulse of night. Deep within the castle, the servants' quarters lie in serene stillness, a world frozen in the calm of midnight. Simple wooden beds, each neatly made with rough-hewn blankets, stretch along the stone walls, their occupants long asleep, or perhaps merely imagined in this timeless moment. Small wooden chests and benches hold folded linens, shoes, and personal belongings, each item meticulously arranged as if the hands that placed them never left. A single lantern hangs from a hook, its flame flickering softly, throwing gentle, dancing shadows across the rough walls and low ceilings. The faint scent of straw, wool, and polished wood mingles with the cool night air drifting in through narrow windows, carrying with it echoes of whispered conversations, laughter, and the distant clatter of utensils from the kitchens earlier in the day. Everything is quiet. The rooms are motionless, yet alive in memory. One can almost imagine the soft creak of floorboards as a servant tiptoes to fetch water, the careful folding of cloth, the gentle hum of a lullaby, sung to a child now asleep elsewhere in the castle. Each object, chests, beds, lanterns, small personal items, tells a story of care, discipline, and the quiet rhythm of human life. Far beyond, the traveler sleeps under the tree, fire crackling softly, connected to this distant, intimate corner of the castle through the serene pulse of the night, where the echoes of ordinary lives mingle with the eternal calm of stone walls and moonlight. In a quieter wing of the castle, the armory holds centuries of history, frozen under the calm gaze of the moon. Rows of spears, swords, and shields are mounted meticulously along stone walls, each item perfectly aligned, reflecting the subtle flicker of candlelight from a single wall sconce. Suits of armor stand on polished wooden mannequins, motionless yet imposing, as if frozen mid-gesture, waiting for the hands of a knight that may never return this night. The scent of oiled metal and aged leather fills the air, mingling faintly with the stone's coldness and the earthy aroma of nearby woodwork. Wooden benches and racks for helmets and gauntlets stand ready, their surfaces worn from centuries of use, each scratch and dented testament to lives lived in preparation, vigilance, and duty. Through a narrow slit in the stone wall, moonlight spills in, illuminating the polished edges of blades and catching on the faintly engraved insignias. Even though the armory is still and silent, one can almost hear the imagined clink of chainmail, the quiet shuffle of armored boots, and the faint murmur of knights practicing in the distant courtyard. The traveler's fire glows softly outside, a warm counterpoint to the cold stone and metal of this space. Every object tells a story, every shadow holds memory, and the entire room hums with a subtle pulse, a heartbeat of history that blends seamlessly into the calm night, offering the mind a sense of rhythm and tranquility as it drifts gently toward rest. Nestled within the castle walls, the chapel lies bathed in serene moonlight, a sanctuary of stillness. Tall, stained glass windows filter the silver light, casting faint, colored patterns across the stone floor. Wooden pews, polished yet worn, stand in perfect alignment, and the altar, adorned with simple candles and a small golden cross, remains untouched by human hands. The soft scent of wax, old wood, and incense lingers faintly, mingling with the cool night air drifting through the narrow, open windows. Behind the altar, a carved wooden lectern holds an open book, its pages frozen mid-verse, while shadows cast by flickering candle flames dance delicately along the vaulted ceiling. Each stone, beam, and ornament tells of devotion, ritual, and centuries of whispered prayers. The silence is profound yet alive, carrying the faint echo of chanted hymns and quiet footsteps that might have filled the chapel during the day. Outside the courtyard, a distant fire beneath the traveler's tree glows softly, linking the intimate sanctuary of the chapel with the vast castle grounds. In this space, one feels the careful preservation of calm and reverence, a meditative pulse that encourages deep, gentle breathing. The mind wanders freely through the quiet halls, tracing patterns of devotion and care, resting fully in the rhythm of stone, fire, and soft candlelight, inviting the body to drift slowly into sleep, wrapped in the castle's timeless embrace. High above the castle, the old bell tower reaches into the night sky, its stones bathed in silver moonlight. The bell, massive and silent, hangs motionless, its rope still, waiting for voices long absent. Wooden beams and iron fixtures glint faintly in the candlelight of a lantern placed near the tower entrance, casting long shadows across the worn stone floor. From the small window, the entire courtyard and surrounding forests are visible, wrapped in gentle darkness and the soft glow of the traveler's distant fire. The wind whispers softly through the arrow slits, stirring only the faintest rustle of moss clinging to the stone. But the tower itself remains frozen in time. Legends linger in the air, tales of knights who rang the bell in triumph, of watchmen who spied approaching strangers, and of secret messages passed through ropes and chimes long ago. Though no sound moves now, the imagination fills the silence. The faint echo of metal, a whisper of cautious steps, a distant hoot of an owl circling above. The tower embodies vigilance and memory, a sentinel of stone preserving centuries of quiet and activity. The traveler beneath the oak tree is connected through the soft heartbeat of distant firelight and the rhythmic twinkle of stars, sharing in the serene continuity of life. Paused, yet never forgotten. In the heart of the castle, the inner gardens lie sleeping beneath a quilt of moonlight. Pathways lined with cobblestones glisten softly as dew reflects the subtle glow of lanterns hanging along the walls. Flower beds and shrubs, carefully tended in daytime, rest in shadowed quiet, petals folded like tiny secrets held close. The gentle scent of night-blooming flowers mingles with the earthy aroma of wet soil and distant smoke from the traveler's fire. A small stone bench, weathered but sturdy, sits beneath a climbing vine, its leaves frozen mid-sway, inviting imagined pauses and quiet contemplation. Nearby, a bird bath holds still water, mirroring the starry sky above. Tiny ripples of imagined movement hinting at life unseen. The distant walls of the castle rise silently, their stone edges softened by moonlight, towers, and battlements, framing the gardens with stoic grace. Lanterns flicker gently, casting warm, moving shadows across walls and walkways, while every plant, stone, and bench remains perfectly still. The gardens feel suspended in a dreamlike balance between life and stillness, a meditation on careful tending and quiet observation. The traveler's fire glows softly beneath the tree, connecting this tranquil corner of the castle to the larger nocturnal landscape. Here, the mind drifts freely, following imagined paths through shadow and light, resting in the serene rhythm of flowers, stone, and the subtle heartbeat of night. Beyond the castle walls, the dense forest stretches into the silver darkness of the night, its ancient trees standing as silent sentinels. Moonlight filters through high branches, casting delicate patterns on the forest floor, while faint mist curls gently among the roots. A narrow path, overgrown but visible, winds through the trees, suggesting journeys long past and adventures imagined. The soft glow of the traveler's fire shines in the distance, a tiny, warm beacon amid the cool expanse of shadow and leaf. Night creatures stir in stillness, the rustle of a sleeping fox's tail, the quiet blink of a deer hidden among the foliage, and the occasional hoot of a distant owl, all frozen in the mind's imagination yet connected to the world of light and fire. The castle towers rise in the distance, a stone silhouette against the starlit sky, offering protection and continuity. Each detail, the curve of a branch, the texture of moss on a stone, the twinkle of distant stars, invites slow, measured observation. The night is a tapestry of shadow, light, and memory, encouraging the mind to wander gently through imagined forests, along hidden paths, and back to the safety of the castle and the firelit oak where the traveler sleeps. In this quiet suspension of time, the world feels expansive yet intimate, a meditation on safety, curiosity, and the gentle pulse of nocturnal life. Deep within the castle, behind a heavy wooden door, lies a hidden chamber forgotten by most. The stone walls are cold, lined with shelves holding old scrolls, leather-bound books, and trinkets whose purposes are lost to time. A small lantern rests on a dusty table, its flickering light casting long, wavering shadows that crawl across the rough-hewn floor. Cobwebs hang in the corners, and the faint scent of wax, aged paper, and earth lingers in the air. Legends whisper that this room once held the private studies of a forgotten lord who recorded secret knowledge, mapped distant lands, and documented strange encounters. Though silent now, one can almost hear the soft rustle of parchment, the scratch of quill across paper, and the muted footsteps of careful exploration. A chest rests in the corner, locked tight, containing objects of unknown origin, glittering faintly in the lantern's glow. The traveler beneath the oak tree, fire crackling gently, seems connected across distance and time, sharing in the chamber's quiet vigilance. Every object, every shadow, every faint flicker of light tells a story of patience, curiosity, and secrecy, inviting the mind to drift freely through imagined corridors of history, knowledge, and quiet, nocturnal reflection. In another wing of the castle, the barracks stand silent under the pale moonlight. Bunks lying neatly along the stone walls hold the faint imprint of sleeping soldiers, their belongings arranged with precision. Leather boots polished, swords placed carefully, armor stacked with care. Lanterns hang from hooks, their flames flickering softly, casting warm light across the cold stone floors. Outside the narrow windows, the courtyard lies in shadow, with distant fires glowing faintly under the trees. The night is still, yet the barracks hum with memory. Echoes of whispered plans, the soft murmur of guards sharing quiet conversation, and the faint creak of footsteps pacing the corridors during long watches. Helmets and shields lean against the walls, polished but still, and a map rests pinned on a wooden board, showing distant lands and unseen threats, frozen in time. Every detail, the dust on the floors, the faintly worn blankets, the subtle flicker of lantern light creates a rhythm of vigilance and preparedness. Far below, the traveler sleeps beneath the oak tree, connected to this distant routine through the quiet pulse of the castle. In this stillness, the mind can wander gently, tracing the history and rituals of guardians long past, and find peace in the steadfast rhythm of stone, light, and silence. At the top of the tallest tower, the ancient library stretches into the night. Rows of towering shelves cradle manuscripts, maps, and books whose pages whisper of centuries gone by. Candlelight flickers in ornate holders, casting dancing shadows on the vaulted ceiling and highlighting the intricate designs carved into the wood and stone. A heavy desk stands near the window, with parchment frozen mid-writing, quill resting beside a faintly dried ink blot. The scent of old leather, ink, and polished wood drifts through the room, mixing with the cool night air from the high window. Legends tell that scholars once lingered here through the dark hours, recording tales of heroes, distant lands, and strange happenings that crossed the borders of the known world. The quiet is profound, yet alive with memory. The imagined scratch of quills, the turn of fragile pages, the faint footsteps of inquisitive minds long past. Outside, the courtyard glows faintly with firelight, connecting this sacred space to the larger castle, while the traveler sleeps beneath the oak, fire flickering gently. The room embodies patience, knowledge, and reverence for time, offering a sanctuary for the mind to wander slowly through stories, dreams, and imagination, carried gently toward restful slumber under the silent watch of stone towers and starlit skies. High in the castle's tallest tower, the view stretches over the surrounding forest, now bathed in the gentle silver light of the moon. The branches of ancient trees sway ever so slightly, their shadows crawling across the ground, creating a subtle rhythm that feels alive without movement. From this height, the traveler's distant fire flickers like a tiny heartbeat beneath the oak tree, each glow mirrored faintly in the tower window. The stone walls of the tower are cool, carved centuries ago, their texture smooth to the touch yet rich with history. Shelves of scrolls and books line one side, dusty but preserved, each volume holding whispers of knowledge, legends, and the quiet life of scholars long gone. The wind carries faint echoes from the courtyard below, the imagined soft clinking of metal from the armory, the gentle rustle of leaves over cobblestones, the distant hum of the hidden garden. Everything is frozen in time, yet every detail tells a story of vigilance, study, and the enduring rhythm of life that persists even in stillness. From this vantage, the castle feels like a living organism, breathing slowly with the night. The traveler sleeps undisturbed, the fire warming him, connected to this quiet, timeless pulse that stretches from stone to stars, from tower to courtyard, from legend to imagination. A soft wind moves through the castle, gentle enough to stir only the faintest shadows and catch the edges of hanging banners and lanterns. Cobblestones in the courtyard glimmer in silver moonlight, reflecting subtle flickers of distant fires and lantern glow. Inside, the castle remains still, yet alive in memory. The kitchens, stables, barracks, library, and hidden chambers hold centuries of quiet rituals, moments paused mid-motion. The sound of imagined footsteps echoes faintly as if the ghosts of the past traverse the halls to check on sleeping inhabitants, polish armor, fold linens, or close a book. In the chapel, shadows move with the flickering candlelight, carrying whispered prayers long since finished. The stars above twinkle in subtle rhythm, mirrored by every flicker of lantern and firelight below. The traveler under the oak tree lies wrapped in warmth, soothed by the soft murmur of night winds, the gentle crackle of his fire, and the sense of safety emanating from the silent, protective stone walls. Every element, the wind, the shadows, the candlelight, the distant stars, works together in a quiet symphony, a meditation in stone. Fire and moonlight, allowing the mind to drift effortlessly, floating between imagination and dreams. The first hints of dawn begin to glow faintly on the horizon, softening the night sky and painting the clouds with a delicate palette of silver, blue, and violet. The castle remains in peaceful stillness, bathed in a subtle transition from moonlight to early light, its towers and walls glowing faintly with the promise of day. Lanterns flicker gently, one last time, as the night prepares to surrender to morning. In the courtyard, flower beds stretch quietly beneath the pale light, petals catching the glow like tiny jewels, while the fountain reflects the awakening sky in motionless water. Inside, the library, chambers, and armory remain preserved in calm, their details sharpened by the new light, yet still wrapped in the hush of centuries. The traveler beneath the oak tree stirs slightly, fire fading to embers, warmth lingering in the soft morning air. Birds may begin their morning song, the distant forest hums with life, but the moment remains gentle, serene, and slow. The castle, the forest, the traveler, and the fire are bound together in a final tableau of stillness and calm, a meditation in light and shadow, warmth and cool stone, ready to carry the mind into peaceful dreams or the quiet promise of a new day. And with this, the night's story closes, leaving a lingering sense of serenity, history, and the timeless magic of a castle held in quiet reflection.